My family, we weren't really big into that whole church thing. We had a few family friends that they would recommend these places when we'd go, and we never really, nothing really stuck with us. Church wasn't really my thing. It was more like a chore. Before I started getting my Jesus on, basically, I was kind of like, all right, God, if you're really who they say you are, got this math test, go ahead and help me out here. I would put him to the test almost. We had some family friends that introduced us to this church called Crossbridge, and at first I was skeptical because it took place at the YMCA, so I was like, what kind of church, is that in the middle of a gym? First 2 weeks, I'm gonna be honest, I went there for the food because they just had like a whole buffet there. I remember talking to my mom later that day, saying like, man, like this guy was kind of cool. Like he's someone that I can actually, listen to. At that point, I started to enjoy church. By this time, like I was entering middle school. Church wasn't really, I guess, in a way, the cool thing to do. It's not what the cool kids did. Social status was always my top priority. Hey, you want to hang out this weekend? I was like, well, part of me was thinking, well, I got church, but I would just blow that off in the back of my head, thinking that's not what someone, I guess, cool would say. All these bad things just started to happen. Grades were dropping. Some of my friends, I remember, dropped off. Or maybe I just dropped off the cliff. I would doubt God, like, why can't I do this? Why can't I be this? How come I'm not as close with these group of friends anymore? How come me and my brother always fight? How come I can't be as good as this person? I kind of took like a plummet for like a little bit. I wouldn't say I was depressed. I would say it was more like I could see a change in myself and everyone around me. I would say that like some people would like start putting their distance. I started blaming it on them first. I was like, yo, you need to fix yourself. But then I started like realizing slowly that it was me that was the problem. Because they don't like me, I won't associate myself with them. So I put myself in like that one kind of bad group of people where I was like, well, hey, they won't judge. I got influenced by like the stuff that I knew was wrong, but like in the moment, I just didn't care. I was usually like a no-show to church. I would kind of just show up to show up. That was my kind of mentality. The one night, Wes texted me and said, hey, dude, you should try out this thing. It was my first year at D now. And I was like kind of skeptical about this. At first, I didn't really think much of it. I was like, oh, great, we get to sing songs and talk about feelings, basically. As the weekend went on, I realized, wow, this actually was kind of fun. I think that's where I actually had my first encounter with God. That was kind of cool because that totally just changed my mindset. Being a part of something where people felt like family, I guess. Like that was my first step in the door. Right when I felt like I was getting pulled away from church, they kind of brought me back in. And I think that right there was the start of my journey with God. Just the environment around me, the people that were with me, they weren't there to like judge. When I got that text from Wes, hey, you going to this? Or hey, you should come check out this? Or like, hey, do you want to help me ref C3? When I started putting more time and effort into God, then more positive things started to happen. I realized that just because, hey, one little bump in the road isn't the end of it all. You can just keep going. One of the youth trips that we took, I actually finally decided what God's trying to tell me is just to finally just let go of all the things that I've been like holding on to, like all the burden I have, and just let myself go and just let Him take me. All I remember feeling after that was just this sense of joy. I came home and I really felt like I was a new person. It didn't matter what my social status was. It didn't matter what was going on, what was happening. Anything bad that happened, it didn't matter anymore. Brenda Hansen approached me and said, hey, what do you think about helping out around with the little kids on Sunday? So I remember I started helping out, and she goes, hey, why don't we take it up a notch, and why don't you go help out with the special needs kid? At first I was like, oh baby, this is gonna be one heck of a task. But as I started doing it, I realized like, hey, this is really cool. Like the reward I get from it is you can't really match. Seeing Xander, seeing Colton just light up on a Sunday morning when they walk in the door and you see me, it's like that, you can't beat that. Like I don't think I ever would have been where I am now if it wasn't like for this church and the people that brought me here and the people that I think led me along the way. I feel like I probably still would have been like in a bad place where I left off 7th grade year, you know?